Hi folks, it's Vivi and let's talk about Yooka-Laylee. I don't know if you're aware, but I did cover a lot of Yooka-Laylee in the past on this channel. In terms of analysis, news and all that, I did all that. So I'm happy to say I can't wait to play their second installment, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. This was announced on June 7th, 2019. It's coming to Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PS4, and Steam, aka PC simultaneously. Yes folks, you heard it right. The Nintendo Switch version, which was released 7 months after the console release for the first game, which started off as a Kickstarter, well, for the Nintendo Switch version, Playtonic Games said they're happy of how it turned out on that console. According to Gavin, managing director and creative lead at Playtonic, sales on the Nintendo Switch for that game easily caught up to the sales of PS4 and Xbox. And for those wondering, is this new game going to be physical as well? Yes. Playtonic, along with Team 17, are teaming up with UK publisher Sold Out. These physical copies for consoles should appear at your local retail store at launch day. As for the release date, there is nothing specific yet. It's simply planned for sometime in 2019. David Wise and Grant Kirkhope are returning to, produce music. David Wise will apparently focus on the 2D levels, and Grant Kirkhope will focus on the overworld. Now these terms I'm using, I'm gonna get to them, alright? This was explained by Gavin. They also have two in-studio composers, Dan Murdoch and Matt Griffin. About David Wise, there is an interview with him, Murdoch, and Griffin over on the Nintendo Life website. I'll leave the link in the description below. Another big question you might have: Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. What is this? Is this a sequel? What are we looking at? Why does it look all 2D? What happened to the 3D aspect of things? Well, first things first, let's go over what Playtonic had to say for themselves. Is this a sequel to Yooka-Laylee? No. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair isn't a direct sequel. We've got lots planned for the future of the Yooka-Laylee universe, but we want to approach each with a fresh take, as each game is an opportunity for us to add new mechanics and gameplay that isn't necessarily limited to what's happened before. This you can find on their main website. They describe it as an indirect sequel, right? I don't think that the Impossible Lair is a spin-off, as the media portrays it. And what's a spin-off, you might ask? Just quick. It's a game which is not considered part of the main release, but has connections to the previous game or games. These connections, well, being of course our main duo, Yooka-Laylee, capital B returning as well, the main villain from the first game. The whole cartoony aspect is still there, but this game, although it has some connections to the first one, it has one main difference: the gameplay style. Developer Playtonic Games wants to experiment with the series. This explains why they stepped away from the 3D platforming aspect of the previous game. From Gavin, a Microsoft blog, we decided to part from the 3D platforming genre and apply our creativity to something fresh. It's always been our mission to not get comfortable and seek out new ways to challenge ourselves and our oddball cast of characters, while continuing to apply our values and experience to our work for an undeniably homemade taste that fans will love. We want them to come back for seconds and eagerly anticipate our next dish. We do want to do games in styles to what we've done in our past, but we've also got to stand up on our own 2 feet. Playtonic as a studio, as a brand, has got to be its own machine, its own beast, so we'll be looking to try and do a bit of both in a way that makes sense. No more are we going to say we're doing a spiritual successor to this game we've previously done. Everything we do from this point on is a brand new concept for us, unshackled, but hopefully there's plenty of crossover, without us having to say it or try to achieve it, with stuff we've done in the past as well. Playtonic Games doesn't want this to be called a spiritual successor. Let's say Donkey Kong Country, which seems to be an influence for this game. Fun fact, the original creators are working on the Impossible Lair. By original creators, I mean the people who worked on Donkey Kong Country. Gavin also went on to say this game has been in development for more than 2 years. Price likes to describe it as a 2.5D platforming and top-down 3D puzzle adventuring. In other words, the team calls it a 2D platforming adventure hybrid. Playtonic Games is fully aware of the mixed feedback the first game got, Yooka-Laylee. They feel the Impossible Lair should be kept more under radar and allow the game to speak for itself. It is about getting that start right. Hopefully there won't be any dramas or hype that becomes out of control. We might have been a bit guilty of fueling that hype with YookaLaylee, and there were advantages to it, but this time around it's been about getting on with it behind the scenes, making it a quality product, and keeping everything under our control. So with that out of the way, folks, let's talk about the gameplay, what we know about it. Right from the start of the game, you can tackle the last level. It's open to you. You can enter. However, such final level will be extremely difficult without rescuing members of Queen Bee's battalion army from the Royal Stingdom. Each level, you will be able to rescue a member of her crew. Up to 48 bees can be found as your aid for the final level. Fun fact, Playtonic Games had this community event titled #PickMePhoebe, where you had the chance to get featured in the game as a bee. 6 bees in total. The winners got announced on July 5th. The competition had started on June 17th and ended on the 28th. People could have submitted music, animation, anything of such sort. An article from Techie and Gameinformer goes on to say that Capital B's lair has no checkpoints, by the way, the lair being the last level. It's extremely difficult even with 6 bees on your side, according to the person on Gameinformer. They said it's an early version, so it might change, but it still gives us an idea. The person who played it didn't even make it out of the first room. So basically, about these bees you rescue, they give you an extra hit. Collect 48 of them, and you'll have an easier round of fun during the final level. You don't have health in this game. It's all a hit and fail mechanic. If you get hit, Laylee flies away, only a few seconds to try and get her back. You basically got 2 hits. If you fail, you'll be on your own with no special abilities for the remainder of the level until you find a bell with wings. There are some collectibles from the first game. The quills are back and have been given a new flair. You can find some quills with the crown on it, which equals to more quills. The ghost riders from the first game have manifested themselves as different pickups, each color depicting a different personality. As for these coins you collect, they have an important function. It's yet to be revealed, actually. If I were to make a guess, it has something to do with Trouser Snake, because he's confirmed to return, folks. Pages make a return with a different role this time, to go through small challenges, help you advance through the overworld. Originally, the Pages helped you expand the worlds. There's some familiar abilities, of course, like rolling, for example, tail twirling with Yooka-Laylee can speed up your roll. There's some ground pound, you can grab objects with your tongue as Yooka. You have a results report after completing a level. Each bee comes with a unique name. The overworld, or the hub world if you want to call it that, you can interact with objects, find quills, solve puzzles and all that. There's some familiar characters, Planker right there, who was a support character in the original, Rampo the boss of the first level from the original YookaLaylee, Dr. Puzz, Vendy, even the core Plitz, Capital B's minions. The game will have 20 levels, but technically, since each level will have a second state, you know, an altered version of the level, there will be 40 levels, technically. So that explains 48 bees then, doesn't it? I mean, if you do the math, it's 40 bees, but as for the remaining 8, who knows? About this altered version of a level, it's kinda similar to the mechanic to their previous game, how you would expand the world. Like, the idea of playing around with the world is still there, but this time they decided to just alter it, instead of expanding it. Gameinformer brings up 2 types of levels, as an example. There's orientation, a level which is horizontal, 2 vertical, where you have to climb this time, or how a level gets flooded with water, as you solve a puzzle in the overworld. According to an article on Game Tyrant, losing multiple times at a certain checkpoint will allow you to skip to another checkpoint. However, by doing so, you'll lose all items you can find in between checkpoints. The interview I brought up before, about the music composers in the beginning, well, Yooka, according to them, got re-recorded. Apparently Chris Sutherland had a sock in his mouth to do Yooka's voices. Interesting, isn't it? As for the story about the characters, Capital B causes trouble at the Royal Stingdom. He takes over. It's ruled by Queen Phoebe, well, until Capital B shows up. And this location, the Royal Stingdom, it's the book in which Capital B gets stuck in after we defeat him in the first game. Yooka and Laylee were basically the cause of it, although not intentionally. So once Capital B got trapped in there, he created a device called the Hive Mind, which is used to enslave the Royal Battalion Guards. As for Queen Bee, or Queen Phoebe, her working title was Bee Lady, initially, and she was going to be Capital B's ex-wife. You can find all this cool detail over on Playtonic's website. And other than that, folks, I think I've said plenty. If I did miss any interesting detail, guys, leave it in the comment section below, alright? So, as usual, do your stuff, comments or anything like that. Leave everything in the comment section below, alright? And I've been Vivi, and thank you for watching.